Come closer. Come sit with me for just a moment. I'm not going to take much of your time, but I want to share something with you. Something that took me over 8 decades to fully understand. My name is Robert. I'm 82 years old. And for the first time in my life, I feel no rush, no pressure, no need to prove anything to anyone. That peace, that stillness is the greatest prosperity I have ever known. Not a bank account, not a title. Peace. And I want you to understand why. Really understand. I was born in 1943 in a small house with thin walls and a wood stove. The kind of house where you could hear everything. Every footstep, every conversation, every prayer. My father was a factory worker. He left every morning at 5:47. I know because I used to watch the clock. I would sit at the kitchen table in the dark and wait for the sound of the door. He never complained. Not in front of us. He just put on his boots, kissed my mother on the cheek, and walked out into whatever weather was waiting for him. I didn't understand that kind of strength when I was young. I do now. My mother, she had a way of making a house feel like a sanctuary. With almost nothing. A clean floor, a warm stove, a Bible on the table. That was our home. I remember the smell of bread on Sunday mornings. The sound of my parents' voices. Quiet, steady, grateful. Even on the hard weeks, even when the money was thin, they were still grateful. We were not a prosperous family, not by the world's definition. But there was never a night, not a single one, where I went to sleep feeling unloved. Years later I would understand. That was prosperity, real prosperity. Maybe you already know this feeling. The feeling of a home that had very little, but never felt empty. That is where I come from, and that is what shaped everything I became. I want you to feel this with me, because somewhere in your life, there is a moment just like this one. A moment you walked past without stopping to notice. A quiet morning, a simple meal, a person who stayed when they could have left. Those moments are the ones that truly built you. They are worth more than anything you have spent your whole life chasing. This is not just my story. It is yours too. Stay with me, because what comes next changed everything I thought I knew about this life. When I was 17, I got my first job. $3.40 an hour. I still remember the smell of that place. Motor oil, sawdust, cold concrete. I was proud of every single cent. Not because it was much, but because it was mine. I had earned it with my own hands. Nobody gave it to me. I worked a job for 2 years. Then I found work at a printing company. Then a supply warehouse. Then, eventually, I started a business of my own. Nothing glamorous. Deliveries, contracts, local companies that needed a reliable man. But it was honest work, and it was mine. When you build something with your own hands, when you carry the weight of it yourself, it changes you. It grows you in ways that comfort never could. There were years when I wasn't sure if the business would survive. 1978 was one of those years. We had 3 children at home. Dorothy was pregnant with our 4th. And I had 6 accounts cancel in the same month. I remember sitting in the car, in the parking lot of a grocery store, engine off, just sitting there in the quiet. Not crying, not panicking, just breathing, and asking God to show me what to do next. I didn't ask Him to fix it. I just asked Him to guide me. And you know what? He did. Not loudly, not dramatically, but within 2 weeks a door opened that I hadn't even seen. A no contract from a company I'd called once and forgotten. A referral from a client I thought had moved on. I come despite the struggle, because of it. The door is already there. You just have to keep moving long enough to see it. I know this because I was you once. I sat in that parking lot. I felt that exact weight on my chest, and I made it to the other side. With my faith intact, with my family whole, with my peace unbroken. That is prosperity. Not the absence of hardship, but the presence of grace inside every difficult year. I married Dorothy. She was 22 years old. And neither of us had any idea what we were doing. But we had something better than a plan. We had faith. We had 30-40 in a part-bedroom apartment with a broken heater, a second-hand table and 2 chairs that didn't match, and a faith that somehow it would all work out. She is still right here beside me. Same woman, same faith, different chairs. People ask me how. They want the secret. And I always give the same answer. We chose each other every single day, not just on the good days. On the ordinary ones too. The tired ones, the quiet ones, the ones where nothing special happened. And we sat across the table from each other anyway. That is the secret. Showing up, even when you don't feel like it. even when love feels more like a decision than a feeling. Not every day was easy. There were seasons where we barely spoke, seasons where the weight of life was almost too much, seasons where I wasn't the husband I should have been. But we never stopped choosing. That stubborn, faithful love is one of the most prosperous things I have ever built. We raised 4 children. James, Thomas, Ruth, and little Carol. Each of them taught me something I didn't know I needed to learn. James taught me patience. Lord knows I needed it. Thomas taught me how to let go. Ruth taught me what fierce love really looks like. And Carol, she taught me that joy doesn't need a reason. She would laugh at nothing. Full and loud and free. And every time she did, the whole house felt lighter. They love run to me when they say my name, when they climb into my arms without hesitation. I don't think about the business I built. I don't think about the money I made or the money I lost. I think about what God gave me, and I wonder how I ever deserved any of it. The answer is that I didn't. None of us do. That is what grace means. You don't earn the best things in life. You receive them with open hands and a grateful heart. Maybe you have been chasing something for a long time. A number, a title, a moment when you finally feel like enough. That moment is not coming from the outside. It was already inside you. It has been there the whole time. The people sitting at your table right now, the ones who would answer the phone at 2 in the morning. That is your prosperity. Right there. Already yours. One of my closest friends is a man named Earl. He is 85 years old. Never made much money. Never drove a fancy car. Never lived in a big house. He has lived in the same small house he bought in 1971. The gutters need fixing. The porch sags a little on the left side, but every light inside that house is warm. Every single morning, without fail, Earl calls me. Not to complain. Not to ask for anything. Not to talk about what's wrong with the world. Just to say 3 words. That meant, it's a good morning. That's it. 3 words. And then we talk for a while. About nothing important. About everything that matters. That man is the wealthiest person I know, because he already understands something that most people spend their whole lives trying to figure out. Every morning he wakes up, there's a morning God decided he was still needed here. And he does not take that lightly. Not for a single day. I want to ask you something. When was the last time you woke up, and before you checked your phone, before you thought about your schedule, before the weight of the day came back to you, He just stopped and said, "Thank you. Just thank you for the morning, for the breath, for one more day." That is where prosperity lives. Not on the account, not on the promotion. In that moment, right there, before the day begins. You know what I treasure now? Not the things I worked hardest to get. I treasure the smell of coffee in the morning, the way light comes through the kitchen window at 7 a.m., the sound of Dorothy humming while she moves around the house. 40 years of that sound, and it still makes me stop what I'm doing. I treasure the moment before I fall asleep, when the house is quiet and I can hear everyone breathing. That silence is the sound of answered prayer. I treasure the text messages my grandchildren send. Sometimes just a photo, sometimes just 3 words. Thinking of you, Grandpa. 3 words. And every time I read them, I feel richer than I have ever felt in my entire life. The world will tell you prosperity comes from building more, getting more, achieving more, being more. But I am 82 years old, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, because one day you will look back, and those will be the moments you remember most. 40. 3 words. I want to talk about faith for a moment. I want religion, not a denomination. Faith. The kind that holds you at 2 in the morning, when the house is dark and the mind won't stop. The kind that doesn't ask you to understand. It just asks you to trust. I don't understand this, but I trust the one who does. That sentence carried me through more hard nights than I can count. When my son Thomas went through his divorce in 2004, I watched him fall apart. He stopped eating right. He stopped calling. He stopped believing things could get better. And I couldn't fix it. Every father wants to fix his child's pain. You would carry it yourself if you could. But some pain isn't yours to carry. Some pain belongs to the person, because it is the very thing that will shape them. What I could do was show up, drive 2 hours every Sunday, sit across the table from him, say very little, and remind him he was not alone, that God was still working, even when Thomas couldn't feel it. Thomas rebuilt his life, slowly, one day at a time. And today he is one of the most grateful men I know. He told me once, "Dad, I needed to go through that. I didn't know who I was before it." That is what faith does. It doesn't remove the difficulty. It
It reveals who you really are on the other side. So here I am, 82 years old, sitting in the house I built with my hands and my faith. If I could sit beside the 25-year-old version of myself, every time you choose to stay when leaving would be easier. God is writing a story through you, and you won't see the whole chapter until you reach the page you're standing on right now. True prosperity is not a destination. It is the life you are already living, seen with grateful eyes. So today, just for a moment, stop. Look at the people around you. Look at the life you survived to live. Look at the fact that you are here right now, breathing. And say thank you. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are still in the story. And the best chapters are the ones you never expected. Think of one person who needs to hear this today. Share it with them, because somebody out there is in that old 1978, wondering if any of it is worth it. And they need someone to say, it is. It really is. Tell me in the comments, what is one blessing you have been too busy to notice? I read every single one. God bless you. Amen.